Hey everybody, this is Mr. Hague's Class Podcast, and I am Mr. Hague. Happy New Year to everyone! For those of you listening in the future, we are in February 2026. February. Actually, we're not in February. We're still in January. This is January 31st, 2026. February will be in about an hour from now. My name is Mr. Hague, and I am a high school teacher, mentor, and coach. And this, my friends, is my 50th podcast episode. That's right. I never thought I'd reach this milestone, but 50 times I went behind the mic trying to enlighten young minds. And it's been a joy, and it's pretty much what drives me. But now we're at the beginning of 2026, and usually at the beginning of each year, most people, they project how the year will unfold. I, for one, don't believe in New Year's resolutions because, frankly, I think they're full of crap. You can make a change at any time of the year, whenever you want. It's more about the mind than it is about the time. But today's episode is about the future. More specifically, the future that teenagers and young adults here in the United States are facing. And I'm not just talking the challenges they're dealing with now, which are pretty much enormous. But I'm talking about the challenges that are rapidly approaching. The ones that you're not seeing. The ones that, if you don't become aware, might come up and bite you or grab you like a lion in the night. Most of you are kind of oblivious to it or just simply not aware. It's easier not to care. Sometimes it's easier to live in a delusion than it is reality. But these issues, these problems that this nation is facing, they're lurking in the background. And all of them, the problems that you're aware of, the problems that you're not aware of, all of them will shape the next generation of adults, workers, parents, voters, leaders, everybody. But yet, my biggest fear is that young people, you're oblivious to it all. This nation is in danger. We are at a crossroads. Gen Z, let me repeat, you are our last hope. You are it. This is it. Gen Y, you are also our last hope. Because in 20 years, if things don't improve for us as a nation, we're dead. We're done. Society will be in chaos. Right now, we have a very corrupt government, and it's getting worse. Gen Y and Gen Z, and soon to be Gen Alpha. If you don't do something about it, we are all in big trouble. There will not be a nation. The world is stressful already right now for you, so I don't mean to bring in more problems that you're going to have to deal with, but believe me, if I had a magic wand, all these things would just disappear and we're all living happy. But that's not the case. It's stressful for you guys because the world has become a bigger place because of social media, because of, even podcasting and the cable TV network or, the smart TVs, all this digital media that's happening right now. People are now more connected than any other time in history. They're more competitive and at the same time more technologically driven than ever. But yet the world is more unstable. The world is not good. You will not just be competing for jobs against your fellow classmates. No, you'll be competing for jobs from current students from around the world. Expectations are high. Margins for error is low. And the pressure to figure it out has changed to figure it out now. I guess AI is the immediate short answer, but no, we are looking for people to solve problems, to care about the world that they live in. And, if you look at the generations prior, from yesterday, okay, and some of them are still around, for instance, the boomers, they're different. They're older people and they're well into retirement. They value personal relationships over Facebook friends. I mean, they can care less about AI, and most of them already own their homes. I mean, they're done. They're finished. They don't care. They're more concerned about their martinis and golf courses or going on vacations, and rightly so. They paid their dues. They don't have to have a concern in the world. Gen X, my generation, well, we're not too much into social media as much either, but we use it, and we probably use it quite a bit. But we don't have a need for likes and followers. Okay, we don't care about that. We are about working out. We're about podcasting or listening to them. We enjoy family and friends and prefer face-to-face conversations or over the phone rather than text messaging and social media exchanges. And, should I say this? We're all becoming grandparents. We purchased our homes at the nick of time, so, we're not really dealing with the rising home costs. And then there's Gen Y, or shall we say the millennials. Obviously way more technologically advanced and fully taking advantage of it. They're not liking the economic situation because they're just beginning their careers. There is a high cost of living. Many are still living with mom and dad, and they define themselves by the social media likes and follows that they get. They're the ones who are the social media influencers. They base their whole importance in a world of likes and follows, which to me is a false sense of validation. And then there is my favorite generation, the Gen Zs, my students. The mental health generation, the oblivious to the world generation, the not so deep generation, the skibbity riz generation, the bombastic side-eye generation. Yeah, most of you are cringing just by me hearing me saying that. But that's what this podcast is for, to make you aware so you can realize where you are. You're it. You're the end-all be-all. We are living in a nation where the government is failing us. I personally don't even think we have a government anymore. That doesn't represent us. That represents us, I'm sorry. The government I see, they're corrupt, and they work more for the billionaire oligarchs than the normal people. I mean, how many of you people in Gen Zs, okay, do you really understand how a law is passed? I mean, back in my day, Gen Z, we had Schoolhouse Rock, Conjunction Junction, what's your, all that, I'm just a bill, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol. Yeah, I mean, that stuff. Well, it takes a lot more than just, introducing a bill and passing it and, it becoming a law and all that. Do you know that before a law, there's this thing called a bill? Well, let me dive a little deeper into it, but because who do you think presents those bills? So a bill has to be presented to the Congress to be debated and discussed, and before it finally goes to the president's desk to be signed into law. But before it even goes there, who do you think influences the writing of these bills? Was it the voters? Was it everyday working people? No. It was the rich in the form known as lobbyists. And lobbyists are made up of very wealthy people that pretty much run the whole country. They're powerful interest groups operating behind the scenes, offering money to politicians to fund their re-election efforts. Yeah, running for office is expensive. That's why I strongly believe in election reform. But, if you want to run for Congress, you got to spend millions. If you want to run for the Senate, you got to spend tens of millions. Oh, and to run for president of the United States, yeah, you got to raise well over $1 billion. I mean, elections are big money. To run for the president, one has to raise, billions and billions of dollars for ad campaigns, travel expenses. You got to pay your staff. There's a continuous barrage of expenses that is involved if you want to get into office. And you think that the average Joe is going to support that price tag? No, it's the wealthy people. It's the big corporations. It's Wall Street. It's the defense contractors. It's the pharmaceutical companies. It's the energy companies. They have the massive budgets. They have the high stakes. They have the long-term strategies. Okay, we want this bill to be passed into law, so here's a little money on the side, and yeah, do exactly as we tell you to do if you want to remain in office. Otherwise, we'll fund your opponent in the next election, and we'll get you out of office. No one will remember who you are. You'll go back into the normal world. I mean, $1 billion price tag for a candidate's election is pocket money for these groups, these rich oligarchs. The military-industrial complex is worth trillions. Big pharma, trillions. Big oil, trillions. I mean, compare that to everyday America. I mean, most people work full-time. They have families. They can't afford to hire lobbyists. And, the politicians are more concerned. I mean, they need to pay their bills too. So they're not going to go to the normal average everyday Joe. The average everyday Joe is more concerned about the upcoming Super Bowl than how politicians are destroying the American dream. So while citizens vote once every few years, okay, maybe once every 2 years for representatives and every 4 years for the president, these corporate lobbyists, they influence policy every single day. Every single day. And that's why some issues like healthcare costs, student debt, housing, they stay unresolved for decades. There is no end in sight. Oh, the politicians are good at putting on a game. They tell you that they're working on it. They tell you by presenting these bills. They tell you that they're fighting this and fighting that. They got their own little Instagram accounts, and they're saying, well, this is rah, 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 and I am doing this to fight Big Pharma. Yeah, bullshit. Bullcrap. Okay, there's no solutions because the lobbyists don't want solutions. Okay, they want their bottom line. The bottom line meaning they want their money because it's huge money for them. Let's take the NRA. Okay, NRA, for those of you who don't know what the NRA is, the National Rifle Association, a major lobbying group in Washington. I mean, every time there's a school shooting, I mean, I don't hear much of them anymore, but they exist. They're there. It's just that, the media, the news stations, the CNNs, the Fox News, the MSNBC, they're all controlled by the lobbyists too. Everything's controlled. But every time you hear a school shooting, notice they don't say a word. Nothing is being said about it. The NRA keeps quiet. But if you're 15 years old and you want to buy that AK-15 or AK-47, oh, sure, come on in. Just go to a gun show. We'll take care of you. Big Pharma is the same thing. They have an enormous lobbying group. You wonder why that America has the most expensive medicine. And I'm talking medicine that most people depend just to live. Let's take insulin if you're diabetic. And by the way, the food in this country really sucks. I mean, they cause diabetes. But let's just say, you are diabetic. Okay? In Canada, it's $35 a vial of insulin. In the United States, it's up to $300. So, and the tech companies, well, they do it too. They're controlling, we saw the sale of TikTok, so they can control what content you see and what, how you think. And it was sold not because Congress wanted it, but because the foreign lobbyists wanted it. They want to control your mind. They want to control content. And if you control content, you control thoughts. And you win an ally with the ally not even realizing it. That's right. You control the government. You control the government. You control the people. You control the nation. You control lives. And you get what you want. The current politicians from both sides of the aisle, that meaning Democrats, Republicans, and even independents, they don't care. They just don't care about the American people. Even though it's illegal to take bribes. Don't kid yourself. It happens every day. Politicians get money. They get rich off of it. I mean, Cory Booker from New Jersey took $800,000 from a foreign lobby group. I mean, he takes millions and millions of dollars. Joe Biden took $4 million from a foreign lobby group. I mean, they can afford those expensive mansions, the high-flying private jets and their limos. Do you think that a typical, congressman's salary, or even the president who makes a mere $400K a year, that's chump change compared to what they really make? I mean, it's called systematic influence. Okay, they want to call it systematic influence. What a fancy term, systematic influence. Yeah, pay the politicians behind the scenes, and they'll do what they'll do exactly what you tell them to do. Yeah, systematic influence. I call it corruption, and it should be illegal. So, but unfortunately, it's not illegal. It's perfectly legal. Okay. I mean, wealth equals influence. Access depends on money. Policy favors donors over voters. That's right. Politicians create policy that favors donors over voters. Okay? And what's happening right now, Gen Z, is that your democracy is beginning to fade. Now they're controlling your free speech. If you go out in the street to protest, these masked thugs will come after you. Okay, I mean, you'll get arrested. You'll be labeled as some things. You'll be called unpatriotic. When it's still the Bill of Rights, a First Amendment right. We have the right to assembly. We have the right to protest. We have the right to speak our voice. But they're trying to silence it. And yet most of you are more concerned about how one person is dissing you online by saying crap about you on a post or on your Facebook wall. Or no, you guys don't do Facebook. You guys do Instagram or your TikToks. Oh, the horror, the fights that I see break up because one person talks smack about another person on TikTok. Really, come on now. It used to be one person, one vote. Now it's $1, one voice. That's right. You got to be aware of this. This is what's happening. It's your lives. And one day it'll be your own children's lives. And as far as I'm concerned, there's a huge growing distrust in government, which I'm glad, because this government is not worthy of trust. They've done everything wrong. I mean, home prices, how old do you think you'll be before you get your first home? In California, and believe me, I am no Governor Newsom fan, but in California, the average home is about $1 million. And if you make $30,000 a year, $40,000, how are you going to afford one? I don't see how you can, unless you get an inheritance or unless you join the military and get a VA loan, and even that's not guaranteed. How do you do that? Okay, I mean, and then on top of that, you work many years. You've got this student loans, okay, that cost an arm and a leg. And yes, don't believe it or not. It's funny how Republicans, they say, everything was fine with student loans until the government got involved. Wrong, dudes. Everything was fine, hunky-dory, until the bankers got involved. Okay, don't say that the government got involved. The government just backs up a school loan. So when you guys go to college, more than likely, you're going to have to dish out over $300,000 for a 4-year university, and the likelihood of you paying it all off within 20 years is slim to none. It might take you the rest of your life. And if you are in debt, you are a slave. That's right. So in other words, you have part of the time that you put into work in an office, in your career, is time that you're going to have to spend paying off this loan. And then, keep in mind, you want to buy that home. You want to buy that car. You want to send your own kids to college. Well, if you're in debt, that makes it more tough. And the thing is that education is getting higher and higher. That's why I'm kind of asking my students to possibly look into becoming, going into blue collar work, like learning a trade, like electrician or HVAC, plumbing, wood shop. Those are all gone. I'm sorry to say, and we're going to talk about whether, the late Charlie Kirk said that, college is a scam. I'm going to study that, and we'll have another podcast just for that. Is college a scam? I'll tell you this right now. It's no good. It's not a very good return on an investment. Okay. And, the reason why I'm trying for Gen Z and Gen Y to wake up is because the previous generations, and I'm talking the boomers to Gen X, well, they fail to notice this, and it's easy to see why. They completely fail to notice the declining society. I grew up in the 80s. What an amazing decade that was. If I see a time machine in front of me right now, guess what I would do? I'd get off my Mac, I'd leave my iPhone, leave my iPad, I'd get in that time machine and just go back to the 80s because it was way simpler, a lot of fun. And yeah, I went to college and high school in the 80s, but it was just, life was just so much easier. But unfortunately, that's what, that makes us, again, oblivious to what was happening. Times were way better back then. Life was good. Cost of living was way lower. A single family member can handle all the bills, and still have enough left over for dinner and a movie out. We had it really good. What was there any reason to complain? We didn't see the beginning of the erosion of the American democracy. We didn't see the beginning of the erosion of free speech. We didn't see any of that. In the news, they told us to hate Iran, and we hated Iran. They told us to hate Arab people. We hated the Arab people. We listened and we believed. Yeah, it was. But we had good lives. We had fun. We had dreams, but we didn't see it because of that. Now, how is your life? Do you have a car? Do you think you can afford a good car? Do you think you can afford college? Do you think you can one day buy a house? Times have changed. It's gotten to the point where these lobbyists are not even hiding what they're doing. They took our government. We have no democracy. We have an oligarchy. The nation is run by wealthy lobbyists and unethical, corrupt politicians, and it's happening right in front of you. Come on, Gen Z, Gen Y. They are funding other nations before your own. We are working, and they're taking our tax dollars to pay for other nations. Congress funds government who, these other nations, they're offering free tuition for their students, free healthcare for their citizens. While here in the United States, the number one reason why people file bankruptcy is because of health care, medical bills. So if you don't take control of your government, your student loans will never be paid off. You will never get that house. You'll have a tough time living comfortably. You will be told to shut up. You'll be told to, just believe this and believe that. If you don't take control of your government, the cost of living will climb at a faster rate than salaries. Depending on the state, the average age of a first-time homeowner is increasing. In California, you'd be lucky to get a home by the time you're 60. I think the median nationwide age for home ownership is around 40, and I think that's too late. Most of you at 40 years old, if they have children, they'll be in their, 5, 6 years old or something like that, maybe 10, who knows. In California, the medium, I think it's almost getting 60 years old before you can buy your home. In Texas, it's 30. I'm sorry. Our governor Newsom, he's running for president. He's not doing anything about it. There's nothing he can do. And what are you going to do? And I'm not endorsing him, and I'm not saying not vote for him. I'm just trying to make that clear. I'm just very disappointed. That's all. And like I said, if you don't take control of your government, you will see crime rates growing even higher. That's right. You know what the number one reason for crime? Poverty. Poverty. How many times you've seen people, loot stores and 7-Elevens, and it's shameful that they do that. But most of them, if they get a free handout, they'll take it. And I'll tell you, you might find me crazy for saying this, but some of the most admirable people I see are those that, you go to these gas stations and these convenience stores, and you see these poor souls that go out and they look through the garbage can and they look for bottles and cans. And sometimes you'll see them riding their bikes, with these large cans behind their back. Hey, at least they're working. At least they're giving an effort. There's a lot of labor involved in what they're doing just for a few dollars at the recycling center. They're not stealing. They're not bothering. They're just minding their... Sometimes I feel guilty that I don't have a can or two to give them, but, and every once in a while I'll give them $5. Hey, and it's not because they want it, it's because I'm rewarding them for good effort. That's what they want to do. They, to help them out. But crime will go up. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry. Your government doesn't care about how you live. And they don't care about the Epstein victims. You notice that they're always talking about, well, who was in the Epstein files? Well, what about the victims? And I'll tell you, as far as the Epstein files are concerned, you know who's in there? Wealthy oligarchs. That's right. That think they're above the law and that can do whatever they want. Screw the victims. They're already victims. We don't have to worry about them. That's exactly what they're thinking. And also, if you don't take control of your government, you will see never-ending wars where you might get drafted, okay, and fight for people who don't give a rat's ass about you. They will tell you that you are fighting for freedom or because that country has narco-terrorists or weapons of mass destruction. We've heard that one before. What a bunch of horseshit lies. If you don't take control of your government, mental health funding cannot be reliable. It's already wiped out. It's already, draining. And if you don't take control of your government will take control of you. That's the bottom line. Okay, Gen Z, Gen Y, if you don't take control of your government will take control of you. I mean, these ICE thugs that are violently destroying everything in its path, causing riots and murdering people and getting away with it. Well, guess what? I think, and again, I don't wish upon this to anybody, there's going to be a civil war. I mean, if people, and remember, we have the Second Amendment here, and I ask all you teenagers, all you Gen Y, Gen Z, please, please, please don't even think about shooting. Put away your guns. But reality says that, we have more guns in this country than we have citizens. We have over 100 million guns out there. So what if those Second Amendment people, they take it out on ICE? Well, now you're giving Trump the right to declare martial law, which means our own military will be out there attacking us. Even though they're sworn by the Constitution to protect all enemies, foreign or domestic. Okay, the normal people are not the enemy. So I don't know. It's getting scarier and scarier, and you Gen Zs this is happening right in front of you. It's already starting. It can't be more clear. So what are you doing about it, Gen Z? This is only your lives. Do you want to fight for freedom? Okay? Or do you want to live as a slave? Like the Hunger Games. So what can you do? What is it that you can do? Well, first of all, talk to each other. And you need to vote in every election, okay? If Trump makes this rule about, bringing in your ID so you can vote, whatever the heck they're scared of, whatever fantasy land that they're worried about, okay, fine. Go over there, bring your damn ID and show it to them and go ahead and vote, okay? Another thing you need to do is keep your elected officials accountable. And I don't understand this notion that if this person votes against this guy named, Fetterman in Pennsylvania, I mean, this guy is such a puppet. But why are you Pennsylvanians waiting till November to vote him out? Why not now? There's a thing called recall. Vote him out now. Protest in front of his home, protest in front of his office, protest, in front of every time he makes a public appearance. Protest, protest, protest. Let them know that you're disgusted with them. Make their lives a living hell, like they're going to try to make your life a living hell. If you find an elected official who's, accepting donations from a lobby that promotes war or asks for billions of dollars without condition, don't vote for that candidate. You want to know how you can choose the right candidate. Look at who he or she accepts money from. Is it from a foreign lobbyist? Is it from, an industry that you are not in favor of? Or any kind of politician support and voted for a policy or a law that eventually will hurt your lifestyle? If they did, they need to go. Not tomorrow, not November, now. You need to form lobbying groups on your own to counter the lobbyist groups that are causing so much damage. Get off the social media crap. Okay, get off this fantasy. Yeah, develop some critical thinking. Go read a book, pay attention, and find news organizations that tell the truth. Okay, I'm sorry, it's not CNN. It's certainly not Fox News. Certainly not MSNBC. Certainly not the major station, NBC, CBS, ABC. None of that. You need to listen to podcasts from reputable people who work from the inside. You need to read blogs. You need to read from people who at least once was in the inside, but now really commenting. Okay, I mean, I love hearing from Scott Ritter and Colonel McGregor, those people. It's Karen Kowalski, Judge Knapp, all these people that have podcasts that really, and even Candace Owen, I kind of like her, and Tucker Carlson, they may be a little bit too on the right wing for me, but they say things that kind of make sense. I mean, I'm not going to agree with everything that people say, but I'm just saying, listen to people who've been on the inside and are on their own right now, rather than these actors that just read a teleprompter. This is going to be a lot of work. But if you stay silent, you are approving of your nation going down to the tubes. If you stay silent, you are approving your hard-earned money that you have the right to be stolen and given to something beyond your control. If you stay silent, you jeopardize your family's right to a comfortable living. Okay. Monitor your elected officials and make sure they do work for you, not the rich, not the oligarchs, you. Okay. And if these politicians do, vote them out, get them out. Go to house.gov. That's house.gov, house.gov, if you don't know who your elected officials are. I know mine, and believe me, I don't like them. Okay? So Gen Z and Gen Y, for me, I have more yesterdays than I do tomorrows. I'm 58 years old. I've paid enough taxes. I'm a naturalized citizen, okay, which still makes me, I don't know if that's even good to say, because, I paid a lot of taxes. I voted on every election pretty much. But I'm worried. I'm worried for myself. I'm worried for my students. I'm worried for my son. The previous generations have failed you, but don't fail yourself. Whew, that was a mouthful. So on this 50th episode, I want to say to Gen Z and to Gen Y, I stand behind you. Save our country. Save our world. I don't have to live in a superpower. I don't care if America is the greatest might militarily in the world. That does not impress me. I want to live in an ordinary country where the government takes care of its people. Free healthcare, free education, and why not? Other countries do it. They improve our infrastructure. get jobs, increase the economy, those stuff like that. I could care less that you're going to go to war and that you can take on 3 or 4 countries in a row, that you can go to a foreign country and kidnap its president. That doesn't impress me. In fact, that disgusts me. So, Gen Y, Gen Z, I wish you all the best of luck, and you'll be in my prayers. I really, really, really hope you can bring America back. So with that being said, this is Mr. Hague for Mr. Hague's class. Be well.